Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you might be watching us. Here I am back to launch the start of the second day of the International Aesthetic Masters 2017. We had a great first day and now we are ready for another intensive sharing of knowledge. We start today with a friend from Peru and a highly qualified dental photographer, Dr. Carlos Ayala. Dr. Ayala got his dental degree from the Faculty of Dentistry of the University of San Martín de Porres in Peru. He then followed his studies and got his specialization in his master in orthodontics, respectively in 2005 and 2012 at the Peruvian University Cayetano Heredia. Dr. Ayala won in 2003 the Alado Award from the Latin American Orthodontic Association and then got into dental photography. He is the creator of the Macro to Micro Photo course for comprehensive management of optics and lighting in dental macro photography since 2013. He is also the author of the workbook published in 2016 under Quintessence edition. Carlos will be presenting a large variety of tips and tricks about photography for the clinic dedicated to dental aesthetics, equipment, settings and handling. Let's watch and get the most out of his presentation. See you in a couple of hours.
Hi, my name is Carlos Ayala and this is my lecture for the International Aesthetic Masters Congress, online congress. And this is about photography, dental photography. We as a dentist are a kind of macro photographers. We record the face in macro and micro mode and the mouth, lips, and natural teeth, and also small elements like ceramics works. So we are definitely macro photographers. So all dentistry is about the details. And in my work, I try to show these details through photography. And now it's about aesthetics, okay? But what is aesthetics? Aesthetics is the study about the beauty, okay? So when we speak about aesthetics, we speak about the natural beauty. And then, if we know natural beauty, we can do cosmetic dentistry. And that is the reason about my work. In my work, I try to capture the nature, the beautiful of the nature, for emulate about dental morphology, about textures, about colors, about translucency, and that's why I start my working on photography and continue until now, develop new ways to communicate through photography. But for this goal, we need to know about normal photography. So this lecture is about how to improve our photography and our way about learn from nature and communicate and motivate, because I'm sure about many of you is involved in educational projects So many of you are teachers, and through photography we can communicate better than with text or words or whatever. So this is really like, this is my goal in my work. It's about macro and micro photography for explore, learn and motivate. So I started my work 4 years ago, and I start also to travel around the world to many cities, a lot of cities, and share this experience with a lot of colleagues, dental technicians, also dentists, around the world in a lot of cities. And this is a very, very nice experience. I really like to share all this experience because I know that photography is very, very important in our career. But if we use dental photography as a main tool for communication, I'm sure that our career is improved every day, every time. So the last year, and now is only 1 year ago, I presented this book with Quintessence International Publishing, and I put all my experience about dental photography, about macro photography applied to our field. So if you like dental photography, I recommend search my book. It's a very nice book without words, and also for learning only with photography, with image. So for understand dental photography or dental macro photography, we need to understand some rules about normal photography. This is a SLR camera, digital camera. In my experience, I test a lot of camera bodies, a lot. Mirrorless, SLR, compact cameras, and I'm sure about SLR digital cameras are the best and the most versatile devices for us, for our field. We need to work always in manual mode, okay? This is a Canon camera, this is a Nikon camera, and we need to work always in manual mode, the N mode. So we need to know something about macro photography, but apply it to dentistry. This is the triangle, call it the exposure triangle, okay? And we have only 3 variables. First, the ISO. ISO is the sensitivity of the digital sensor. Then we have the shutter speed. And finally, we got the aperture or the control of diaphragm. So we need to understand these 3 elements. Okay, first we have the ISO. ISO, some cameras have a direct button access, so you can change very easily. Some, for example, Nikon cameras, the basic ones, doesn't have a direct button, so you need to enter to the menu to modify. Okay, but this is not a problem, but we need to understand this. This is the ISO 100. Okay, when we shoot a 100 of ISO, we obtain the best quality in our pictures. What happens if we shoot a higher ISO like this? This is a 10,000 ISO. So when you start to up the ISO, you obtain a problem, call it digital noise. You see these pixels? This is a pixels with colors red, green, and yellow. So I recommend for digital dental photography to shoot between 100 and 400 to prevent the digital noise. Okay? So if my election is always shoot at 100 of ISO, always 100 ISO. But with 100, I need a very powerful flashes. Okay? That's why we need a range between 1000 and 400. Okay? So the first rule about ISO is solved. Okay? So now we start to talk about the shutter speed. Okay? Look, in dentistry, we always use flashes. Always. We don't use natural light or continuous light like normal photographers. So always use flashes. And we can choose, we can use powerful flashes like these, the big ones, or less powerful flashes like this small Nikon SB200. So if we work with powerful flashes like 100, like the big ones, we can use a basic ISO like 100 ISO. And if you have a less powerful flash like the small Nikon, you can choose the ISO 400, because the ISO is only for compensate the powerful of your flash. Okay? So this is a point very, very easy. So if I have powerful flashes, I always use 100 ISO. If I have a less power flash, I go to 400 ISO. Okay. So let's talk about the shutter speed. Okay? Because we always use a flash, we need to understand this concept. This concept is called the flash synchro speed or flash sync speed. And this is about for synchronized a flash, because when you shoot a camera with a flash, you have two times. One time is in your camera body, and the other time is in your flash. It's about the duration of the flash. Okay? So you need a time that is totally compatible with your time or the time of the duration of your flash. So this is the time, and this time is like a basis, okay? This is the 1 to 128 seconds. This is the time for flash sync speed. So if I need a flash or if I use a flash, I'm always use this speed. So always in 1 to 128 seconds. Because this time is totally compatible with the longest duration of a different type of flashes. For example, studio flashes. If you use studio flashes have a very, very long time of duration. If you compare with speed light, like a ring flashes or a normal speed light. So I'm always use this speed in my camera. You can change the speed in your, the shutter speed in your camera. In Nikon cameras, with this selector in the thumb, and in Canon cameras in this selector. So both models, different models have a direct access to change the speed, but you don't need to change because always use a flash, so we need to set in 1 to 125. So this is our second point, and always set the speed in 100 to 25 seconds. Okay? And we need to talk about the diaphragm. The diaphragm is in your lens, and this is about the control of depth of field. Okay? So this is not about the light, because in photography, light is time always. Okay? More time in your flash, more light. More time in your camera, or more shutter speed, is more light also. So this is about the control of depth of field. Okay? This is a regular macro lens, a 100 macro lens. And the diaphragm open in 1.8 and close on 32. Okay? So this is the range of a lot of different macro lenses. In some Nikon cameras, you have a direct access to change the diaphragm. In this is a Nikon camera, and you can change in the finger button in front of the shutter button. This is a Canon camera. This is a basic model. So if you need to change the speed, you need to push this button, the AV button, and scroll this selector to change the speed. Sorry, it's not the speed, it's about the diaphragm. Okay? So in Canon cameras, some Canon cameras, and also some Nikon cameras, the basic models, you need to push two buttons to change the diaphragm. And this is what happens when you shoot with a macro lens, with 100 macro lens. If you set your diaphragm in 5.6, you only obtain 1 millimeter of depth of field. Okay? This is that happens when your macro lens is in 1:1. So 1:1 is the closest focus of your lens. You only obtain 1 millimeter of depth of field. You see, this is only the small area in focus. Okay? This is an optical effect. When you set your diaphragm in f8, you only have 2 millimeters of depth of field. Okay? When you set in 11f, you obtain 3 millimeters. In 22, obtain 5 millimeters only. So this is a kind of problem because we don't shoot flat elements. We shoot curved elements with volume. So we need a higher depth of field. And this is that happens when you shoot at f32. You obtain only 6 millimeters of depth of field. Okay? So in macro photography, in dental macro photography, this is a very common setting in your camera. The ISO 100, because we need to obtain the best image without beta noise. The shutter speed is in 1 to 125 because we always use a flash. The F we set always in 32 because we need the longest depth of field. And in some Canon cameras, it's a quite different between Nikon cameras because some kind of models like 5D, for example, or 7D, have less sensitivity of the light. So we need to compensate with a higher ISO. For example, in this case, 400 ISO. And we have both models. In the left, the Nikon, and in the right, the Canon. The same shutter speed, the same f, but different ISO, because we need to compensate the less sensitivity of your sensor with a 400 ISO. So this is the setting that always I use in macro dental photography. Always. I never change this setting. Okay? For example, in this picture, we have a f32 in a 100 macro lens. The shutter speed is for sync a flash. So this is a 1 to 125. And the ISO is 100 because my flash is a powerful flash. Okay? But I only obtain a 6 millimeters depth of field. If you see carefully, I have only a line with a 6 millimeters depth of field, not anymore. In this intraoral picture, the same setting, okay? f32, the shutter speed 125 and ISO 100. This picture is made with a 100 lens, 100 millimeters macro lens, and two lights with a twin setup. So this is another picture, the same settings. Okay? So I don't need to change my setting. The most important thing in photography is about the light. So I need to adapt my light, the duration and the position of the light, for obtain a different effects in dental macro photography, but always use the same setting. Okay, what about portrait photography? So in portrait, I don't need a closer diaphragm. I need, because this is not a macro photography, okay? Because a portrait, we shoot with a working distance between 3 meters, 6 meters, depends of your lens, and also the size of your sensor. So with a f8, I can obtain a 1 centimeter of depth of field at 3 meters with a 100 macro lens, like this picture. So it's okay if I use always in a portrait f11, for example, okay? In difference with a micro photography that I always use a f32. As you see, the shutter speed is the same, because for portrait and also for macro photography I always use a flash. So I need to speed for seeing a flash. And maybe for portrait is a very nice to shoot at 200 ISO, and for macro the best 100 ISO. So these settings, I always use these settings and I never change. Okay, I never change these settings. The only element that I change is the power or the duration of my flashes, and the position of the flash, and the type of diffusers. So this is the best way for obtain the best macro photography. So because the light is the most important element in photography, we need to talk about the light. Okay? So we need to start to understand the duration of the light in a speed light, because in dentistry we always use speed light or flashes. Always. we don't shoot with a natural light or continuous light. This is a speed light flashes. And if you see in the left side, you have a setting in manual mode. I always use in manual mode the flashes. So this is the one to one. What it means? One to one is the full duration of my flash. Okay, and in the right side, you see 1 to 128. This is the minimum power or the shorter duration of my flash. What it means? Look, this is a scale, okay? The 1 to 1 is the full duration. Then you have 1 to 2, 1 to 4, 1 to 8, 1 to 16, 1 to 32, 1 to 64, and then 1 to 128. This is the shorter duration. Look what happens. In 1 to 1, my flash spread all the power, all the duration. So this is the most power setting of my flash. This is the 1 to 2, the half duration. This is all about time. Okay? This is 1 to 4, 1 to 8, 1 to 16, 1 to 32, 1 to 64, 1 to 128. So 128 is the shorter duration of my flash. So this is the minimal power of my flash also. Okay, so we need to talk about the source of light. Okay, this is a speed light flashes, and I really like to work with these speed light flashes. And I explain for what. These flashes are totally wirelessly. Okay. These are powerful flashes, so I can shoot always in 100 of ISO. And if you review the market, you have these options. For Nikon users, you have two very popular models, the 910 and the 700. The problem is these flashes are quite expensive, and also the trigger method is about infrared. So you need a commander, or you need a camera body that have an infrared transmitter. So I don't like infrared because infrared need to be aligned like a remote control of the television. If you don't align this signal, you can shoot, you can trigger the flashes. So I don't like infrared, this method. For Canon users, you have the 600 and 430. This is very popular between Canon users, but also is a quite expensive flash, and also you can trigger by infrared. So I don't like these options. I have these Nikon flashes, but it's very nice for portrait in outdoors, when you can mix the continuous light of the sun and the flashes also. You can mix the sun with and also flashes. You can use this flash for portraits, but it's not a very nice flashes for our purpose or field in dentistry. And I really like this type of speed light. This is the Jono 560. This flash, the method of triggering these flashes is about radio. So if you have a radio, you can trigger 100% this flash. Also, this flash is very cheap, and the quality is a very nice. Also, these flashes have an internal radio receiver, so with these triggers you can shoot totally wisely. So this is a very nice option for obtaining a very power source of light, and also very versatile in dentistry and also for dental technicians. This is a very nice kit or package. You see 2 speed light and 1 commander. So you can put this commander in your camera, in the hot shoe of your camera, and you can control the duration of the flash with this commander. So this is a very nice kit, and also very cheap. And you can apply this source of light in different areas in dentistry, from portraits to intraoral, and also for laboratory. These sources of light are very nice and very versatile. Okay, so we need to talk about the modifiers, because modifiers is also very important. And we need to start talking about portraits, okay? For portraits, it's a very nice use diaphragm between 8 and 11. I prefer the 8, because with 100 macro lens, you obtain 1 centimeter of depth of field that is enough for focusing the eyes and also the lips. And for portrait, the best modifier is this. This is the beauty dish. This is a beauty dish for use with a studio flash. Beauty dish is like a standard for portrait, okay? But I don't like studio lights because are heavy, are too powerful for one person. So I really like speed light, and this is a beauty dish for speed light. This beauty dish is very nice. This is a metal one, and you only need a 16-inch beauty dish for one face, and this is enough. This is an option also. Beauty dish is a very interesting light modifier. You see, the light is passed to this dish. This dish is like a wok, like a Chinese wok with a hole, and the light hits the disc and bounces the light for the first time, and for the second time bounce in this dish and produce this like a tunnel of hard light. This tunnel make a glare, a very nice glare in the hair and in the mandibular border, and in the center you obtain a very soft light. So this is perfect for a face. This is like a standard. In photography, all the portrait photographers use a beauty dish like a standard in the everyday work. You can use the beauty dish without a diffuser, or you can set a diffuser if you like a softer effect in the skin. So I really like the beauty dish also because you only need only one light, only one flash for illuminate a face. And this is one of my favorites. This is a Opteca BD5 beauty dish. It's made with a plastic made, so it's very cheap. And this also works with a speed light. I test this beauty dish with and compare with the metal ones, very expensive beauty dish, and the effect is the same. So if you like the metal, go for the metal. The metal is very nice, but also the plastic one is very nice for portrait. You see, this is not a perfect beauty dish because it's a plastic one. This is a very cheap device, but it works the same in the face. And also you can obtain this beauty, you can run without a diffuser or with a diffuser if you like softer effect in the skin. So I have both, and I need to say that the effect is the same. How is the construct? How I can construct a small studio in my clinic? So I need 2 speed light. I recommend 2 speed light. If you go for the Canon or Nikon, it's okay. If you going for the Jono, it's okay also. You need 2 lights, okay? One for the beauty dish, that this is the main light, and this is for the face. The beauty dish is going to the face, in the middle of the face, at 45 degrees. Okay, and this is your main light. You see the another one, the another flash, is going to the wall, and this is a white wall, because if you don't illuminate the white wall is going to gray. Okay, so this is in photography. The name of this flash is a background flash. So you need illuminate the background flash, and you need attach the speed light. You need this stands. This is a light stands. Okay. And you need 2 of these, one for the back and one for the beauty dish. As you can see, the stands are very cheap, okay? And in front or connected to the stand, you need a flash bracket for a speed light, okay? So this is the setup, and you have 2 speed lights, but you need 3 lights. Okay? So the main light is for the beauty with the speed light, the second light is for the back, and the third light is obtained for this reflector. This is a 5-in-1 reflector who bounces the main light of the beauty dish. So you have 3 lights with only 2 speed lights. So you need 2 stands, 2 light stands, 2 flashes, one beauty dish, one 5-in-1 reflector, and 2 brackets for attach the speed light to the light stands. So look at this. This is the effect only with one speed light, okay, with a beauty dish, because the beauty dish is coming from in the middle of the face, like 45 degrees. You obtain a lot of shadows, okay, here, and in the neck. So you need the third light, who is coming from the 5-in-1 reflector, and this is the effect. So the 5-in-1 reflector, use it in the silver side, bounce the main light, and fill these shadows. Okay, don't eliminate the shadows, only fill the shadows, and obtain this very nice effect. So the setting is the same for portraits. Diaphragm in 8 or 11, the shutter speed 125, the ISO 200, and you need to set the duration of your flash or your speed light. Depends of the distance between the face and in this case the beauty dish, that the distance is like 2 meters or 3 meters, and I always use this duration 1 to 16 in my flashes. The same for the speed light for the beauty dish, and the same for the background speed light. Okay, so with this tab you can elect or black background or white background. I prefer the white background because it's most versatile. If you like the black background, it's quite difficult because you need more space between your patient and the black background. You need almost between 2 meters to 3 meters, because if your beauty dish is here and the patient is very close to the background, you illuminate the background and it's going to gray. So you need a space between your patient and the background if you like the black. And also the background light is not going to the background, is going to the hair. Okay, this called in photography a separation light. So you need to shoot like in this direction with the flash to the hair for separate the hair to the black background. If you don't have this light in the hair, if you shoot a patient with a black hair, the black hair is fused to the background. So this is the name of this is a separation light. In the white background, it's more easy because between the back and your patient is, you only need centimeters. Maybe 50 centimeters is enough. So you don't need more space. Okay? And this is another reason that I like the beauty dish, because I only need one main light in the middle of the face, so the distribution of the light is more repetitive. It's more repetitive than if I have two lights for studio flashes or two softboxes, each one in one side of your patient. So this is another advantage about the the beauty dish, because the light is like this, it's very close to the patient. I can shoot a very nice close-up without blocking the light. So I shoot in regular, for portrait mode, and I can approximate to my patient and shoot a very nice close-up about the smile, about the frontal teeth, without blocking the light, because the light is coming from above my patient, and the bounce light is like this also. So I can block the light, and I shoot a very close to the patient. So this is very nice for me. Okay, let's talk about lips. For lips, we start to enter inside the mouth, and this is a kind of macro photography. So for macro photography, I need to close my diaphragm, and I go into f32. Okay, and also we need to talk about diffusers. This is the very popular LumiQuest pocket bouncers. Okay, this is I'm sure that this is the best, the most popular between us in dentistry modifiers. But what happened with these diffusers? This is a very, very, very these diffusers there is no like this in photography. This is only for speedlight, and you can divide the shadows and the light, as you can see in this image. So these diffusers are very, very directional. Very directional. So you can obtain a very high contrast, a natural contrast image with these diffusers. You see, you can choose the light side and the dark side with this diffuser. So these diffusers are very, very particular. For lips, I prefer to use like this. I have two-speed light with bouncers, and I can change the position of the light and obtain a very nice shadows. So I set these flashes with a light stands. If you don't like the stands, or maybe you don't have space, the assistant can hold the flashes. And this, for me, this is the best for obtaining a very nice picture for lips. About settings, this is the settings that I always use in macro. Diaphragm f32, the shutter speed 1 to 125, the ISO 200 or 100, and the flash duration also in 1 to 16. So, for example, in this picture, I only use one speed light in the opposite side of my lens because I need shadows. Okay, this is another picture, the same settings, the same position of the light with bouncers. So I really like bouncers for make lips photography. What about the teeth? Also, we are in macro mode. So for teeth, we need to understand that this is the best source of light. This is about macro flash. This is macro flashes. Okay. The old flashes is called ring flash. The ring flashes make this shape of light. The normal, the actual flashes is not a ring flashes, it's a macro flashes. And actually, macro flashes, the modern life macro flashes, is a twin flashes because you have two separate lights. Okay, this is not like the old ones that is the light like this in a circle. So we need to understand how to manage the ring flashes. As you can see, in the middle of this area, you have a shadow, okay? But in this triangle of shadow, you obtain shadows only from the top of the flash at the final working ideal distance, only 12 centimeters, okay? So if you use the macro flash very close to the object, you obtain the ideal working distance. If you shoot the ring flash more than 12 centimeters, this is not the ideal working distance, so you can obtain only one light. If you set the flash like this, very close, you obtain two lights, okay? If you use like this in a 20 centimeters or 30 centimeters, this is not the correct working distance to use macro flashes. And that's why a lot of people doesn't like this type of flashes. So a lot of people buy twin flashes because this problem. And there is another problem here, that the most common, most popular flash in dentistry is about twin flashes. And also the most popular lens in dentistry is about the 100 macro lens. And this is a common issue, because if I have a full frame camera sensor, yes, I can use a 100 macro lens, because in 1:1 I obtain my working distance is like a 12 or 11 centimeters, so I can use a macro flash. But if I have a cropped sensor camera, I mean a basic camera like a Nikon 3400 or Canon T5, T6 or Nikon 5000 or 7000 or Canon 5D or 60D or 80D. The macro 100 lens is not the ideal lens for my work, because if you have a macro flash, the ideal lens is a 60 millimeters or maybe a 85 millimeters macro lenses, because with this focal length I have a very short working distance, so I can use this type of flash. Okay, so this is another problem. Look, this is my old flash. This is my Nikon SB29, and if you see carefully the plastic of my flash, the plastic is translucent. It's a plastic clear. Okay, this is the same in the Sigma flash. The same. Also, the Sigma is like a clone of these flashes. So if I shoot with this type of flashes, these flashes produce a very hard light. So I burn a lot of pixels. If I enlarge this area, this picture, I have this white area without any information, because all these pixels is burned. So I don't have anything, information, any kind of information, any color, any texture here. So this is very, very important in dentistry. This is with a hard macro flash. And you see, you have a lot of area, burned spots area. And you see the difference, the same patient with a soft light and this also. So this is a very important, because in dentistry we always need soften the light for perceive pixels, because pixels have information about color, form and texture. So we need to understand this. When you have a softer light, you have a lot of information. Okay? If you use a hard light with a plastic, clear plastic in front of flashes, you burn a lot of information. Like these pictures. You see, you have more information here because the light is softer. Okay? And in dentistry, we always work with a very reflective surface, from enamel, metals, blood, saliva. So we always need soft flashes. For example, this is the Canon ring flash or macro ring light, and these have a white plastic opaque in front of the flash. So this is a kind of soft light, softer than my Nikon SB29, softer than my METS flash or Sigma flash, macro flash. So this is better for dentistry. The problem is the price. This flash is a expensive flash. Okay. This is the jumbo flash. This is a kind of a clone of Canon flashes, and these also have a plastic white opaque. But this is a kind softer than the Canon flashes because it's bigger, and in photography bigger is softer, and the price is okay. It's very nice. Also, I can shoot with Canon cameras and also with Nikon cameras with this flash. This only, when you search this flash, you only found 4 Canon cameras, but also you can shoot with Nikon cameras, with Nikon cameras in manual mode. In Canon cameras, you can shoot in ETTL function that this is like a auto regulation flash. And look, this is a image with this flash. Okay, so I obtained this image with a full frame cameras with my 100 macro lens in a closer position. So between the flash and the object is only 12 centimeters. So I have 2 lights, and because this flash is a very soft light, I have a lot of details, as you can see. So for me, macro flashes are the best in dentistry, in clinical dentistry, because in clinical dentistry I don't have time for put special soft boxes or whatever type of flashes. So because I don't have time. Okay, if you have 60 millimeters macro lenses, maybe it's better because you have less working distance, and you can manage better this A and B light from your macro flash. This is the same patient with a contraster, and I have a lot of information here. If I work with a totally, absolutely isolation, it's better because the isolation have a matte surface, and it works like a bouncer, you see. So in dentistry, in clinical dentistry, you need to select the ideal macro flash. For me, the best is the Jono, definitely, because it's the softer light for this purpose. And also, in clinical dentistry, I don't have time for use special flashes or devices in my everyday work. Okay, so look, this is a picture taken with a mirror with my Nikon 3400 camera. This is a basic, very basic model, and also with a 100 macro lens in 1:1. So my macro lens and also with my macro flash is very close to the mirror. So I show this is the same image, okay, and I can enlarge this image. As you can see, this is the same image enlarging, okay, and I have a lot of details because when I preserve pixels, I can enlarge digitally the image because I don't have burned pixels. So this image is almost very difficult to obtain with a microscope, but you can obtain with a soft macro flash. So in dentistry, in everyday clinical photography, You don't need a twin flash. These flashes is also very nice devices, but I really like the macro flash. Okay, you have some advantage with these devices, like this. For example, you can set nice diffusers, and also with this Canon. But you need special equipment, special diffusers, and to adapt to these flashes. And I recommend if I need two light like this twin setup, I prefer use two speed light with bouncers. Okay, this is not everyday photography, but if you need to take very nice pictures like this is my choice. If I need details for texture or for going more inside, I only use a speed light and bouncer. For example, like this, in this picture, I only use a speed light with a bouncer in the opposite side of my lens. So I can choose the direction of the light, and I obtain different type of shadows and different type of effects. Maybe for communicate or for make very nice pictures like this. So you can change the position of the light to obtain different effects only with one light, because natural teeth are translucent elements. So in the maybe in 800% of the cases, we only need one light. Okay. In this picture, for example, in the left one, I only have one light in the opposite side of my lens. In the right image, I only use also one light in the opposite side of my lens. So when I need to make this special picture with a lot of details, I prefer to use a speed light. For gingiva, because there's a lot of surgeons and also people who made or need a very, very soft light. So if you need the softer light, you need to experiment with this diffuser. This is a LumiQuest Ultra Soft diffuser. This is very similar to bouncer, but with this diffuser you bounce and diffuse the light, so the light is softer. This is not a directional diffuser, but this is the softer in the market. You see the plastic doesn't have any reflection, so this also happens in the mouth. So this is the best diffuser for gingiva and also for metals. You see, this is a picture with a hard light. If you see carefully in the gingiva, you have a lot of burned pixels, so you lose a lot of details. When you use a softer light like this, you see, the gingiva is like a plastic because the light is softer. So if you are a periodontist, maybe this is your best diffuser. You see, at more magnification, the gingiva doesn't have reflection. So for me, always when I need to shoot gingiva, I always use only one flash with this ultra soft. So I can eliminate all the reflection and I see more. Like this picture. This picture is not possible with another type of light. So ultrasoft is the best for gingiva and also for metals. If you are a surgeon, you need maybe a very nice setup is a camera with a 100 macro lens and a speed light with a ultrasoft, because in 800% of the cases you need only one light. Okay. The same, look, this is a very old picture with a low resolution camera. So in photography, the light is the most important element. So if you can modify the light with diffusers, with different type of diffuser, you obtain different options and different image also. The same, look, this is the effect of the ultrasoft. So this is my choice, my election. For ultrasoft pictures, I always use the LumiQuest ultrasoft. If I need a very nice picture about lips and natural teeth, I always use the bouncer. For portrait, I always use the beauty dish. So, because the light is the most important thing in photography. So, I need to say thank you to the organization of this Congress, and I really I'm very happy to participate in this type of Congress, because you know, the knowledge, I always know that the knowledge, it can be open and free for everyone who search. And this is Carlos Ayala, and thank you for your time. And if you need to contact me, and you need to please write me by Facebook, and you have my email or Instagram, and I'm really glad to share my experience if you need. And thank you for your time, and see in another time maybe, and goodbye, and thank you.